Yes, yes, yes. Mr. Raphael Dawkins with the Combat Radio. And we are live. Okay. Let me sort this thing out. Let me get this thing correct. Let's get it right. Let's get it tight. Hold on, what's going on here? What is going on here? Save that. Let's share that. Okay. What's going on over there? How we looking? How we looking? Are we looking good? Let's bring that down. What are the other options, though? What are the other options? What's going on? When I think of that before. Hold on. Let's look at the options. Always check your options. Let's have a look. What can we do? What can we do with this? We can do that. We can do that. We can do that. Oh, maybe that's the answer. Maybe that is the answer. Okay. What else, though? No. No. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Let's do this. Let's come out of that. Let's go into this. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. Testing. Let's line this thing up properly. Where are we? Oh, okay. That was good. That's good, yeah. Yeah. Yes. 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 Oh, looking now. Yes. Okay. Yes, you are in tune too. The Boxing Talk with Raphie. On Raphael Dawkins Combat Radio. Now we're going in. We're going in tonight. No form of delay or hesitation. I'm not saying that. Let me get 1 second. Okay, that's good, yeah. That's good, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so let's get into this nice and neatly. Remember, we're here for an informative time. We're not here for a long time. Literally and figuratively. Okay, so what are we talking about? We're talking about some of the weekend's action, some of the biggest action happened over the Easter weekend. We had an extended weekend over here in the UK. Don't know about your part of the world, but I got Friday off, Easter Friday. Obviously, then you have the weekend, the Saturday, Sunday, and I got Monday off, Easter Monday. Also, Bank Holiday Monday. So it was a long weekend. It was a long weekend. It was a good weekend. That said, didn't get everything done that I should have got done. That's on me. You know what I mean? Maybe Raphie just kicked back just a little bit too much. Just a little too much. I've got a piece of work that I'm going to have to catch up on tonight after the show. Hence, can't keep this too long. You got to go in. You got to get the job done nice and neatly. Nice and sweetly. Un momento, mommy, slow your tempo. Let me have a little looky. Let's do a little sound check. do a little sound check and let's kill the music. Just temporarily, of course. Let's see how this is sounding. Open sesame. No, let's take this back just a little. Gotta get the job done nice and neatly. Nice and sweetly. Okay. Momentum, mommy, slow your tempo. Okay, we are good. We are good. Let's take that up like so. Take that up like so. Let's bring the music back in. Let's get back on the right screen. And let us introduce, let us bring in Leon Figures. Leon Figures, how do you do? Talk to me.
Very good, Mr. Wilkins. How are you? How are you? Mic check, mic check. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
How was your Easter?
Well,
did you enjoy your extended bank holiday?
Well, first and foremost, before I answer that, let me just salute and acknowledge the people in taking time out to come over here to the RDC and kick it with us for a little bit. The UGC Flame up in the building. Greetings from the USA. Hope all is well. Hope all is well over your side, my friend. I mean, all isn't well because I've had some bad news. It's not family, but it's someone who was very dear to me. But yes, Trump Drago, check 1, check 2. Audio nice and clear. I'm from welcome to Jamrock. Yeah, good on you. Trump Drago. Yeah, man, it's nice. I mean, I underperformed. Let's be honest, I underperformed because it's an important piece of work. It's only going to take me an hour. And in that whole time, I didn't do it. Sometimes you can relax a little bit too much in the holiday season, kick back just a little bit too much. But don't worry, I'll cane that off after the show. Little piece of work for me. Sorry to hear that, but glad you're giving us the content 100%. I have a responsibility. I committed myself. When I commit to something, I got to see it through. I got to see the mission through. And, I committed to giving the people at least one live show per week. And this week I've doubled that because we went live yesterday. Was it yesterday or the day before? The day before. The day before, yeah, because it's Tuesday now. Yeah, so we went live Sunday with the Fraser Clark, Fabio Wardley. That was a hell of a fight. Hell of a fighter. And of course, I didn't go live for the Fundora Tszyu, but you know how it goes over here at the RDCR. Raphie fell asleep on the sofa. And weirdly enough, I didn't set no alarm clock. I didn't intend to cover it. I didn't even intend to watch it live because, we're here in the UK and the fights take place on American time, what's convenient for America, but not what's convenient for here in the UK, obviously. But lo and behold, Raphie woke up on the sofa, looked at his timepiece. It said 3 a.m. And I thought, hold on a second. That means that Fundora or Tszyu Fundora must be happening anytime now. Pretty sure it was 3 o'clock or was it 4? I don't know, whatever. Turned on the TV, played with the dials just a little bit, tweaked the dials just a little bit, and lo and behold, what did I see on my screen? It was Fundora walking out. It was amazing. The timing was perfection. So I got to watch Tszyu Fundora live. I didn't cover it. I just thought, let me just kick back with this one. But I did do a lot of tweets on the night. A little film, a little bit of the action. put it in a tweet. As a matter of fact, rat-tat-tat-tat. Raphie don't want to get in trouble. Raphie don't want to get in trouble. Anyone who's interested wants to go and see that. I want to avoid any kind of copyright issues. So just make your way to Raphie's Twitter, Raphael Dawkins Combat Radio. It's the same name as the channel. Couldn't make it any easier for you than that. So one hell of a fight. One hell of a fighter. Nice screen shout out to your guest on the panel. Indeed, that is the Leon Figures. We always have some good combos. Trust and believe. Trust and believe.
Shout out UGC Flame.
100%. 100%. Nice screen. Shout out to the Leon Figures. The Bruce Gas Boxing Jazz. Bruce, I'm gonna have to kick it with you one of the days, brother. Because you always come in here, and UCG Flame too. I owe you a return visit. Because you guys come in here, you give a little shout out. I owe you a return visit. As a matter of fact, I owe H Money a return visit as well. I'm gonna find a way. I'm gonna make some time. Bro. I owe all of you guys a return visit. I'm gonna find a way. You know, time's kind of strict with the Raphie right now. There's a lot on my plate, but you know, sometime at some point, don't be surprised if the Raphie just drops in on the thing. Okay, so what we do, Leon, it's up to you. What we're gonna do? We're gonna talk about the tragedy first, or we're gonna talk about the boxing first. Maybe we should talk about the boxing first. I don't know.
Let's go with the tragedy.
Let's go with the tragedy, because that's what my heart is really telling me. Okay, let's get straight into it. Okay, folks, boxing, second half of the show. First half of the show, we're talking about the tragedy. Okay. So there's a cat that we went to school. We were at school together. I'm not saying we went to school together, but we were at school together. He was in my class at certain times. Raphie prides himself on having a great memory, but I don't really remember him being in my class. But we bumped into. Well, I've seen him many times over the years. We live in a similar area, or I see him. You know, I live near the town, so I'll see him. I'll bump into him multiple times per year. You know, the Raphie was a lad. I was a lad. He, on the other hand, this cat, he wasn't in my social circle, but we knew him and we were cool with him. As in, you know, just leave him alone. He's him doing his own thing. Truth be told, we used to kind of laugh at him a little bit because he was a fat kid, and you know, he had these knock knees and whatnot. But he was a pleasant guy, so you just leave him alone. Don't mock him. Don't tease him. Whatever. And he always walked around. He always had a gang of girls around him as well. Maybe that's another reason why we just leave him alone. He's a harmless guy. It was pretty obvious that he wasn't like average guys. He wasn't your normal guy. Very feminine fella. And maybe that's why he had an affinity with the girls. The girls had an affinity with him. Always a gang of girls around. Okay, fine. Just leave him alone. Leave him alone. Okay, which is sweet up in the building. Good to see you. Smash that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Hit all the buttons. I know you have, but whatever. So, just leave him. We know him. He's a harmless guy. Leave him. He's got a gang of girls around. Okay, fine. No problem. He is what he is. Years later, you know, I was in a pub. I went to a pub, and who do I see? He never declared his orientation, but it was pretty obvious. Many years later, I walk into a pub, and who do I see sitting down with another guy having a meal? Okay, we already know. Leave him alone. He's what he is. He never hurt nobody. Okay, fine. So that was it throughout school. All right. Now, I told you before. I don't know. I told you before on the channel about the time when Raphie was a schoolboy. He was 11 years of age, and the two hottest girls in the year, or two of the hottest girls in the year, came up to me. It was just after lunchtime, just before history class. And one of them was called Denise, and one of them was called Sharon. I told this story before. And because of Raphie's, well, it was ridiculous. What I did was ridiculous. So I think it was Sharon first. I was standing a good few yards away from me. I don't know if they were scared of the Raphie. Why not come closer? But whatever. I had no reason to fear the 11-year-old Raphie. And they said, and Sharon said, Raph, will you go out with me? Now, for people abroad, go out means can we date? I want you to be my boy, and I want to be your girl. Yeah, that's what it means. Can we go out? Can we see? What did she say? Can we go out together? Something like that. Yeah. And I just looked around and said, no. Remember, these are two of the hottest girls in the year. Raphie's 11. Raphie's born at the end of August, last week in August. So effectively, I'm like the youngest in the year. Every year, I'm the youngest in the year. I know Tszyu started infant school before me, before I started, but he was born in September the 6th or something like that. And so he had to stay over and join the year under just because he was born a few days later. In the UK, in England, the cutoff point is like September the 5th. He was born September the 6th. So he had to go. He started school before me. He had to wait and go in the year under. Raphie's born on the last week in August. So Raphie's like one of the youngest in the class, one of the youngest in the year. They could have been born at the earlier part of the year. They could have been born at the earlier part of the year or after September. So they're the oldest, whatever. So Raphie said no to Sharon. And then Denise is standing right next to her. Then Denise says, will you go out with me? And I said, no. OMG. Raphie was just into playing football. You guys over there call it soccer. Playing football with my mates. That's my friends. You guys call them buddies. You guys call them buddies. I was into that. Now, if we go to the school disco, as they call them back then, if we go to the school disco or the youth club, well, that's a different thing. Then Raphie's all about it. Yeah, you want to dance? Yeah, you want to go behind the bike sheds? Yeah, that's all good. But Raphie at that time had no interest in holding hands, walking around the school playground. No. With the guys playing football. Okay. So I bump into the cat I just described before. You know, bumped into that cat. I see him multiple times a year, but this time we're in a shop. That's where I bump into him. We're in a shop. I see him. I'm behind him. I call his name. Well, I say his name. And he turns around and says, oh, yeah, how are you? I'm good, man. I'm good. And I don't know how it came about because it doesn't normally come about like this. But we started talking about school and some of the girls at school. And then it turns out that he has maintained contact with a whole gang of people from school, from our year. He's maintained contact with them. Whereas Raphie hasn't. If I see you, I see you. But social media, me following you, no, I wasn't. Social media is relatively new to me, the last 5 years or so. The last 5 years. And I haven't really gone back and searched for school friends. If I still see them, I still see them. If I don't, then I don't. But so first thing he told me was that there's a guy I know from school. We were in the same school. We were pretty close. We were cool. Very sporty guy, into football and whatnot. And he got with his girl. The outlaw pugilist up in the building. I'm sorry, folks. The outlaw outlaw. Hey, I'm good. I'm glad you're in here. You can feel free to hit the link and jump in, but I ain't talking boxing right now. Public announcement. I ain't talking boxing right now. The first half of the show, Doing 2 halves of half an hour. The first half is a little something that I found out today. But good to have your opinion. I'm subscribed to you too. Excellente. Okay. So this Stan got with his girl in school, and you always think they'll never work. I know a couple of guys who did it. It'll never work. But they made a life together. They had kids early, married, and they stayed together. They've been together. They've been together forever. Been together forever. Bumped into Stan about 8 years ago at a leisure center. He popped up, looked at each other. Aren't you? Yeah. Aren't you? Yeah. And then, we were training at the similar times, oftentimes after work. Okay. So then it turns out that the cat told me, M, let's call him M, that's his initial. M told me Julie died. I said, who? I said, Julie T. I'll mention a letter. Julie T. I said, Julie T. Wasn't she married to Stan? He says, yeah. Julie T, who was married to Stan, has died. He said, yeah. I said, my God. I said, my God. Them two have been joined at the hips from school days. From school days. He says, yeah, Julie T has died. I said, oh my God. OMG. Oh my God. So that's sad for Stan. Then he said, yeah. So now Stan is with Pamela T. Who was Pamela T? Pamela T, this girl from school. Knew a lot of girls from school on a friendly basis. We used to push the tables together in environmental studies. And there was me, Gary T. There's a lot of T's. I'm not making this up. There's a lot of T's. His surname is actually begins with a T. So it was me, Gary T, good mate of mine. And we were the only 2 guys in that around the table. And the girls decided to push the tables together. There was Sharon, who I just mentioned. This was a couple of years earlier when she asked me out. We became friends. We became cool. There was Sharon E. There was Pamela T. There was Susan. There was a bunch of girls. There was probably 4 or 5 girls around us. Me, Gary T, then 4 or 5 girls to push the tables together. It's unusual, not normally accepted, but teacher didn't say nothing, fine. So I said, damn, can't believe it. So then M tells me that Pamela T, one of the girls around the table, Pamela T, in the school holidays. Oh, sorry, let's just get this up. I ain't gonna be talking boxing for the first half an hour, just to let you know. So in the school holidays, I had volunteered one day. Some other students had volunteered one day to do some painting in the school. They provided the overalls, the paint, the rollers, everything. All we had to do is turn up, student power. So it turns out me and Pamela T, who I'd always just seen, took her for granted, as a friend. She's one of the girls. She's one of the 5 girls who pushed the tables together because they wanted to be around me and Gary T. So Pamela T and me, we're doing the boys' toilets, at school with boys. We're doing the roller. We're painting it a nice blue for the boys. And it's just me and Pamela T. Everything's cool. Never really thought anything of it. She's a mate. She's one of the girls from environmental studies. Push the table together. So at some point, I realized that Pamela T had some paint on her face. So I said, Pamela, you got some paint on your face. You want me to get it off of you? She says, yeah. I get a paper towel, wet it, so it's nice and soft, and then I begin to wipe the paint off Pamela T's face. And I'm focused on the mark, the paint. I'm focused on the paint on her face, getting that off. And at some point, I don't know, something happened. Something came into my consciousness, and I looked her in the eye. And as I flicked my eye to look into her eyes flicked away. So I said, hold on a second. So the whole time I was wiping the paint off Pamela T's face, she was looking in the Raphie's eyes. She was looking in the Raphie's eyes, and at that moment I realized that, Pamela T looked at Raphie as more than just a friend. More than just a friend. Okay, so that's fine, whatever. That's that. Me and Sharon, get back to Sharon E., the girl who asked me out when I was 11, and I just said no. Me and Sharon E., we became friends, big, nice bunch of friends. And we leave school, and that's that. That's that. Before social media days, we leave school, and that's that. Raphie's working here, there, and everywhere, all over the country over the years. Lose contact. But a few years after school, I'm in a club, local club, and I'm walking past this young lady. I don't know her, but as I walk past, she grabs my arm. She grabs my forearm. And I look back and think to myself, yeah, she's going to realize any minute now, she's going to realize that I'm not whoever she thought I was. But she still holds on to my forearm, and I'm looking her in the eye. I don't know this girl. And then she says, Raph. I say, damn, I do know this girl. I must do, because she know me. So I must know her. So then I look deep into her eyes, very deep into her eyes. And I say to her, after a long time, I say to her, Sharon? And she says, yes. And with that, she jumps. She wraps her arms around me. The Raphie's kind of tall, so when the Raphie stands up, with her arms still wrapped around me, the feet come off the ground. And then she wrapped her legs around the Raphie's waist. And the Raphie had to support her. Well, I'll come back to that story in a second, but some more background with Sharon. I remember we went on a school trip to Wales, the country, Wales. And I remember Aberystwyth, to be precise. And I remember we went into some coves, where the rocks you walk through the rocks. There's big holes in the rocks, and you walk by the sea, some coves. It was just me and Sharon. It's very romantic. We're still at school, bro. I'm older than 11 now, maybe 13, maybe 14. And then I don't know if it was the same trip when we were holding hands. And I don't remember if it was the same trip or a different trip, but I remember we were on this steep hill. And we were walking down. Walking up a steep hill would have been fine, but we were walking down. It was grassy. And Raphie Raphie had this vision of tripping and just falling and rolling down the hill, rolling down the grassy hill like tumbleweed. And Raphie had visions of that, and Raphie found it very disturbing. So the Raphie was kind of shook, and it wasn't really hiding it. And the lady in question, Sharon, she took me by the hand. She took the Raphie by the hand to secure Raphie and make Raphie feel more comfortable. I remember the teacher, his name was Mr. Morse. I remember Mr. Morse kind of trying to mock the Raphie and saying, oh, well, not really. It was just gentle jibes, just fun. He said, oh, Raphie's with Mrs. Dawkins. He started calling her Mrs. Dawkins. And she wasn't offended, and I wasn't offended. She was cool. She was nice. It was nice. We were holding hands going down the hill. She pacifying the Raphie. Okay, so that's the background. That's the kind of relationship we had. I was cool with it. It was fun. I could see the funny side, but I was actually genuinely scared about going down this grassy hill, thinking I'm going to slip and trip and fall and roll. Raphie could die at an early age. We don't want that. So, yeah, that's the background. You know, it was that kind of relationship. So years later, a few years after we finished school, I bump into her. Says, Raph. I say, Sharon. And cut a long story short, we eventually consummated our friendship. Okay? That's the Raphie and the Sharon. Okay, cool. And then we lost contact again. But I always remember Sharon fondly. She was vivacious. She was always so vivacious. She was always so warm. And she turned out to be a very, very sensual. She turned out to be a very, very sensual lady. Okay. One of the most impressive ladies Raphie has ever known when it comes to just, there was something about her. She was just so tremendous, you know? So I always thought about it. I said, yeah, one day we get nice to meet up again, you know, socially or whatever. One day. Raphie always said, one day. So talking to Mooka, I'm talking to M, and he said, you hear about Sharon? And I said, Sharon who? Sharon E. I said, nah, what about her? He said, Sharon's died. I said, what? He said, Sharon E. has died. She died a couple of years ago. I said, oh my God. I cannot believe it. What? Sharon? Dead? Yeah, Sharon's dead. Stan's wife? Dead? Yeah, Julie, dead. And I was just in the shop. I was just, wow. You think you have so much time? You say next week, next month, next year, you think you have so much time, but then do you have so much time? Do you really? Find out that some people I was very fond of have passed away. I will never be able to hug Sharon again. Sharon was one of the girls that when you talk about school, Sharon's name comes up. Sharon's name comes up when you talk about school, when you talk about the ladies. Sharon was very influential to me. Very warm, very vivacious. You know, and now she's gone. And it was crazy. It's crazy. I always thought that sometime we'd share a drink together. I'd take her out for a drink, whatever. You know what I mean? We'd have dinner together. You just think there's so much time. And sometimes there isn't. Sometimes there isn't. One of the most influential girls, girls from back then, never forgot her. Left an imprint, left a very strong impression on the Raphie. And hey people, now she's gone. What am I gonna do? We've shared our social medias with M. Shared my social media with M. I don't want any more of this shizzle going down without me being engaged. You know what I mean? I should have been there. I should have been there when Stan's Mrs. Julie passed away. I should have been there. I should have been there to offer my condolences, my sympathy. I should have been there. I should have been there over the years just to be a friend to Sharon. I should have been there. but I wasn't. I should have been there. We've connected so on social media now with M, and I'm gonna tap in. I'm gonna have a personal page just for the back in the day people. And have a personal page for those connections, to work those connections, to be more connected with a part of my life that I just left behind. But a cat like Mukabai or M, damn, I'm giving his name away. M, guy like M always stay connected. I'm gonna reconnect. So I'll be available. I will be available. I'll be emotionally available. So if a girl like Sharon wanted to talk, I would have been available. I should have been available. The Leon figures, talk to me.
Yeah, it's a terrible thing. I mean, I had a similar inkling around 14 years ago or so when I was approaching or just turned 30. Because when I left school, I kind of went to an all-boys school. Then there was a sisters' school, an all-girls school next to us. And they had a sixth form. So most of us went to the sixth form. So it was quite, like we'd spent a lot of time over 7 years together.
Yeah.
And then when I left, I went to uni. And I just completely dropped off the radar. When you've just been with the same people, I went to uni. I was in a completely different area. No one I knew went to that uni.
Right.
And I quite enjoyed it. And I ended up losing contact with the vast majority of people.
Right.
So 12 or so years passed. And then Facebook also starts to come involved.
Yeah.
So I started reaching out to people, met a few people for a drink and had a catch up, but it didn't really work out. People had moved on. I don't know if people had felt a bit, well, you just disappeared, I think, because that was the thing. People, what happened to you? You just disappeared.
Yeah.
I never saw it like that. I honestly never saw it like that. I just saw it was going on with my life, I wasn't that hard to find as far as I was concerned, but apparently I was.
You think they felt slighted somewhat?
I don't know if they felt slighted, but it's a sense of when I tried to reconnect, they might have thought, well, who are you? Like, we've moved on now in life.
Yeah.
It might have been a bit. I mean, I was the popular kid, like I was the package. I had the girls. I had the friends. And that got a little jealousy sometimes.
Yeah.
But it was just interesting. It was just the whole reconnecting thing. It was an interesting thing that it didn't quite work out for me. But
for real,
go for it. Go for it if you can reconnect, because life isn't promised, And I always find it strange, though. I mean, I know some people now, we're all in our mid-40s, and they've kept the same friends, and I just find that absolutely remarkable. Like, the year below me, they actually met up again a few years ago, but the majority of the group had all kept in touch to the point where they could all meet up. My friend, who's like the godmother of my child, and I'm the godfather of her child.
Yeah.
One of the few people I did keep in touch with, she said, "Oh, I bumped into everyone," and she said they were all there. She was like, it was like being in a common room back at sixth form again. And I just found it absolutely remarkable that people would maintain friendships like that. Maybe it's my personality type, but just found that a bit strange. But it's connections, if you can hold them, if you got that quality of friend that survived that time, treasure them. So I didn't really find myself having that, dealing with a lot of jealousy and etc. It's just, I just find it's easier to just keep myself to myself.
Yeah. Well, I think that has been, I've never really felt the need or the meetups, you know, they always made me cringe, kind of thing. The thought of it made me cringe beforehand. But you know what? I changed my point of view. I changed my point of view. I kind of wished. I kind of wished that. I wish that I'd been there. I wish that I'd been there because you know we did have a good bond with many of our group. Had a really good bond. Um, and then there's Pamela T, who I met years after school, and at school I just saw her as a nice girl, tall girl, nice girl. And that was that. Really nice personality. Remember we had the movie moment when I wiped the paint off her face with the damp paper towel. And then I just looked in her eyes and she looked away real quick. So she'd been looking in my eyes the whole time. Well, I met her like about 10 years ago. 10 years ago somewhere. And she was with a husband and a couple of kids. She was with a husband and a couple of kids. And the way she greeted me was, I thought, oh my gosh, yeah, I definitely didn't read the room well with this girl because she just came up to me and she just flung her arms around me, and it was like full body contact. You know, she put her arms around my neck, so that extends the whole torso, and I could feel her. I could really feel her against me, and it felt very good.
They know what they're doing when they do that. They know exactly what they're doing.
Well, here's the thing: the husband was there.
Well, she didn't care, obviously.
Obviously not. Obviously not. She didn't care. The husband was right there, and now years later, it turns out that she divorced him. Years later, it turned out she divorced him, and she's with Stan now. Stan, whose wife died. She was one of the pack. She was one of the pack at school. His wife died, and now Pamela T is with Stan G.
Now I'm thinking whether she did something to get rid of the wife.
Well, apparently she was at the funeral. Pamela T was at the funeral. Now
they always return to the scene of the crime.
Now here's the thing: Pamela T hugged me, and so bear in mind, Pamela T was a straight-laced girl, really good girl, a kind of girl that I almost kind of saw her almost like a second cousin. You know what I mean? One of them girls, just a good girl, just a good girl, just a good girl, and that's kind of
for me, them cousins through respect, I call them. They were fair game, mate. As far as I was concerned, you're not related.
Yeah, well,
there's a chance. There's a chance.
I didn't see Pamela as sexy. I did not see Pamela as sexy. I saw her as nice at school. But then when I saw her about 10 years ago, I thought, damn, this girl has gone from nice to friggin' amazing. All those years later, she'd taken care of herself. She looked absolutely amazing. I knew she was tall, but it never really got to me when we standing together, and she looked so well proportioned. She'd taken such good care of herself, and you don't look that good by accident. She was obviously getting her exercise in. She was thinking about her fitness and health, and she was obviously eating sensible. And she had a daughter who was like about 15. I said, damn, your daughter, I didn't say it, but I just thought, damn, your daughter looks like you at that age. And really attractive. And I thought, damn, this girl's got some damn good genes. And she hugged me.
Careful now. Careful now.
Oh, good genes. They got good genes. I'm talking about the mom. The mom hugs me. Pamela hugs me. And I thought, that's not a normal hug. And the husband's there. So when M told me that she divorced from her husband, I thought, well, I understand, because it seemed like a strange matchup to me. The matchup was the matchup to me was like, you live in an area, you live up the street, the guy lives up the street, the guy lives down the street. They didn't really get on the clubbing scene like I did, so that's who you know. You date, the people in your street or the next street over or the next street over. That's who you date. One day pops the question, you think, well, and the girl thinks, well, nothing else is going on, might as well. And she ends up with this cat. But like I said, the hug said it all. The hug said it all. The husband was there. The children were there. Well, they were kind of teenage to, whatever. And the hug said it all to me. So when I found out she divorced him, no surprise whatsoever. The guy said to her, "Where's he from?" And he didn't go to, because I don't remember the guy. The guy must be her age or a year above, but he was no disrespect to him, but he was just a face in the crowd. No disrespect to him, but he just didn't register. I don't know that cat. He must have gone to the same school. I don't know that cat. I never seen him before knowingly. He was just a face in the crowd. And he was shocked that we went to the same school. He don't remember me from then. And it was just, yeah. So she's with Stan G now. She's with Stan. She divorced her husband and now she went to the funeral and now she's with Stan G. And I thought, my, if only I was around. If only I was around. And so I thought, you know what? I'm going to plug myself back in. Because people are dying. People I was very fond of. They're passing away and I'm not around. And I think I need to reconnect with them people because some of them, like you said, though, it might be a different scene. It might not be the same. Probably almost certainly not going to be the same. But it would just be nice to say, how you doing? How you doing? You doing okay? Are you doing okay? It would be nice. If you want to talk, if you want to go for a drink, we can do that. I can fit you in. You want to come for a coffee? You want to go for a coffee after work? Yeah, meet me downtown after work at such and such a place. We'll go for a coffee. So I'm just going to make myself available to that. I'm going to open myself up to that because, like I say, some people that I was very fond of, they're going away. They're crossing over. They're going to the other side. And I'm just going to make myself available, Leon Figures. I'm going to make myself available.
Well, I bet in the next few months we're going to be hearing of a couple of the new additions to the Ket's list.
Well,
you're going to meet up.
Well, let me put it this way. I went and looked for Sharon E. Didn't expect to find her. I mean, I could have done it years ago. I just didn't think that I would have the research skills to find her. My research skills must have improved because I found her. She didn't have a picture in the profile pic, but it was the name. I ignored it at first. And I looked at some others, and then it wasn't her. Then I went to the top one again, and it was her. Obviously, page hasn't been uploaded for a number of years because she's gone. She doesn't exist anymore. She's gone away. But it's funny because I could have done that 10 years ago. But I wasn't on social media 10 years ago. And I probably didn't have the skills to just narrow it down, put the keywords in, etc. But I do now. But yeah, I found her after she passed away. Now, here's something interesting. I look at her picture. I'm going to put it up again. Not going to show you cats. But I'm going to pull up the picture again. I looked at her picture and I thought, okay, it's beautiful that I found you. But you know something that I realized? I realized something. Men and women, they have different expectations. So, for example, I, as a man, I know, where is she? Let me find her. That in order, oh, damn, stayed right there. I know as a man that if I want to stay looking good, I know as a man that I have to there's certain things I have to do. One of those things is I have to exercise. Exercise has to be a regular part of my week. I know that as a man, if I want to stay looking good, fit and healthy and vibrant. Now, hold on a second. Okay, now, women are different. When I pulled up a picture, I realized that I could barely recognize her. When I pulled up her picture, I realized that I could walk past her on the street. I could walk past her on the street and I wouldn't have recognized her when I see the last picture of her that she uploaded. I would have walked past her and not recognized her. If I had seen her, and that's because I can see that she didn't prioritize keeping lean. She did not prioritize exercise, or she didn't have, it appears to me from the picture, she did not, I don't know if she was exercising like that. I don't. She's still an attractive woman, yes. But I'm looking at the body and I'm saying, you have not remained toned. You have not remained toned. And you know, it's easy to look good when you're in your teens and your early 20s. It's easy to look good. But I think the difference between a man, many men and many women, is that a man knows that in order to remain looking good, you simply, there's no way around it. You have to exercise and you have to eat good. Leon figures.
Yes, coming from somebody who stopped exercising and eating good,
right,
in his early 20s, yes, definitely the truth. 100%. I mean, it's a bit different for men in the sense of you can compensate for not being in the best physical shape.
Yes.
If you've got the finances, if you've been,
if you're solvent, they call it solvent.
Solvent, yes. Women will put up with a bit of a belly on top of them.
Yeah.
If they know they're financially secure in your company.
Yes. Yes.
I've been spending the last 5 or so years rectifying that.
Right.
It's been yo-yoing, but I think I'm at a stage now where I've reduced my set point, my set weight.
Yeah.
It's slowly coming down.
Mm.
You'll do a regime, you'll lose the weight. If you go back to the same patterns, you go right back.
Yes.
It's just trying to find one that can maintain. And I think I've stumbled across after the 10th or so attempt. I stumbled across something that I can do for the long term.
Yeah.
It's not restrictive.
Right.
You know, I mainly eat meat and eggs, but I have the occasional. If I want something, a treat, I won't do anything packaged or processed.
Yeah.
But occasionally, like I went out to eat for work yesterday.
Yeah.
And hardly anything processed, anything out of a packet. If I fancy a sweet or something, like a dessert, then I'll just bake a cake myself. You know, I've got a daughter. I used to do baking and stuff, and if I want something, I'll just make it myself. It won't have any of the preservatives and the things that make them last long. So I know what's gone into it.
For real. I hear you. I can do all of that stuff. I mean,
working out as well. I've got into that now over the last 3 months. Really got into the habit of working out daily. So I've got myself a little gym set up at home. And the strength training has been a real game changer. The weight hasn't dropped.
Yeah.
This morning or yesterday, I actually tried on, because I always kept a pair of jeans I used to wear when I was in sixth form. That that's always been my marker to get back into those. So I'd lose weight, get back into those, get back on again.
Mm-hmm.
But today yesterday I tried the one and I was able to do the buttons up. It's not like it fitted. It was extremely tight.
Yeah.
Considering my weight, I was just like, I remember reading that they'll say that your weight might not drop, but your body will change.
Yes. Yes. That's beautiful. That's marvelous. That's wonderful. But yeah, I mean, that's the difference between, I mean, it's changing a little bit now. I think everybody understands that they need to get some exercise in now. But I think 10 years, well, maybe 10 years ago, maybe 20 years ago, maybe. I mean, I've always been on it for the most part. When you have some lapses, but for the most part, I've always been on it. But I can honestly say, right about now, weight wise, body configuration wise, I'm in a damn good place. I'm in a damn good place. I have been for some considerable time. I mean, you know, I slipped. I've had lapses. But for the most part, I've been on it, and it really pays dividends. It really pays dividends. So I look at the picture of her, and I said, "Okay, I understand. You were, you know, you had a kid, you had other things on your mind. So yeah, I understand. But it's very clear to me that she wasn't on it. She wasn't on the fitness thing. She really wasn't. And I don't think she was, you know, was she eating properly? Not to say she looked terrible. She didn't. You could still see that she was an attractive woman at heart, but she looked mumsy.
Being totally transparent,
Yeah.
I don't think anybody that overeats is in a good place with themselves. There's something that's lacking.
Yeah.
When they
Something's
eat
wrong.
food. Yeah, and they're using the food. But Mr. Dawkins, I've got to go now.
Okay. Well, that's hey. I'm glad that you was able to stick around for as long as you did, and we'll talk again soon.
Okay, yeah, but
that was the Leon Figures, and much appreciation goes out to him. Okay, so where am I now? Yeah, I'm gonna get reconnected. A lot of shizzle's been going down that I've been unaware of. I should have been around for certain things that I wasn't around for. And yeah, I'm going to make myself available. Of course, things have changed, people change, but still, there will be. I'm sure we'll be able to have some fun times, some interesting times. I personally look forward to meeting. I personally look forward to meeting up with some of my old time friends now. Before I used to find it cringy, school reunions and all that. I used to find it cringy. I don't find it cringy anymore. I'd like to know how they're doing. You know, some have passed away and I wasn't there. And I feel bad about that because I met some really pleasant people in our circle. I'm going to make myself available. Okay. So we've wrapped that up and now we get into the boxing section. Aaron Daly's just tapped in. Well, it's a good time to tap in for the boxing because I've just been talking about one of my old school crushes, stroke girlfriend, who I just found out today by a mutual friend has passed away. She passed away a couple of years ago. I didn't even know because I wasn't available. I wasn't around. I didn't make myself available. Un momento, mami, slow your tempo. Okay. So let's get into the boxing. Let's get into this. Let me change my screen. What's going on? Oh, Okay. Okay. I think we get into the big one straight away. Let's get into the big one straight away. Do I want to sit down for this? I think I want to sit down for this. Hold on. Let me see myself comfortable. Okay. Okay. So let's talk about it. Fundora, or rather Tszyu, Tim Tszyu versus Sebastian Fundora. I woke up randomly. I fell asleep on the sofa. Woke up randomly, looked at my watch, looked at my timepiece. It said 3 o'clock. I think he said 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock, whatever the time was. I thought, hold on. Fundora. Tszyu v. Fundora. This is their ring walk time. So, grab the remote, tweaked a few buttons, and there it was on my screen. Fundora was walking to the ring in Las Vegas. And, yeah, as you may know, my prediction was Tszyu. What did I say Tszyu was going to do? Did I expect Tszyu to go the 12 round or stop him by TKO late? Yeah. Tszyu to go to win by points or late TKO stoppage. That's what I thought was going to happen. But then the fight started, and yeah, Tszyu seemed to have the edge for the first couple of rounds. But Fundora seemed very composed. He was very composed. He was very calm. And oftentimes, Fundora crowds his own work. He doesn't really use his length. He doesn't use the long man's tool. The long man's tool is length. Who's this chick on the screen? Who's this chick on the screen? Okay. But this time he did. This time, Fundora used the tall man's tool. Oh, that's not what I want. That's not what I want. What do I want to do? I want to do this. Yeah, cool. Yeah, what we doing? What we doing? That's what we're doing. Where are we now? Oh, yeah. Okay. So, this time he used the tall man's tool. And he used it to good effect. So, I think, was it the third round? I think it was the third round or the end of the second. Something like that. When did he get cut? When Tszyu leaned in. Tszyu leaned in with his head, or charged in with his head, did Tszyu, and his head towards the forehead, towards the hairline. It smashed into Fundora's elbow. So remember, be clear. Fundora didn't smash his elbow into Tszyu's head by the hairline. Tszyu smashed his head into Fundora's forearm. Accidental? Was he accidental? Yeah, most likely. But the result was that Tszyu ended up looking like he'd been hit like a pin. What? What do you call them? Ball pin hammer. pinball hammer, whatever. You know, the hammers with the round side. On one end you got a normal hammer, on the other hand it's like a semicircle. Yeah, looked like he'd been conked on the head with one of them, and the blood immediately started to gush. I think that was the end of the second round, something like that, or the end of the third, something like that. But from thereafter, the fight became very competitive. Tszyu wasn't able to get off. He was having trouble getting off anyway, due to the length of the 6'6" Fundora. So Tszyu was having some problems anyway before the cut, but then when the cut came, it seemed to exacerbate the problem with the blood flowing in his eyes. And Tszyu was getting off some nice single shots, but he couldn't put the shots together, presumably because the blood was pouring in his eyes, thus disenabling him to have that 20/20 vision about what's going on, what's coming, what is giving, what's coming. Positioning seemed to be hindered. It was problematic. And slowly but surely began to dawn on everybody that Fundora was taking the points. Fundora was outscoring Tim Tszyu round after round after round after round, and Fundora didn't do anything spectacular. He just kept it simple, and he just kept his length. Kept it simple and kept his length. And he beat that boy. Fundora beat that boy, which was totally against what I had expected. I and many other people expected. I think, was it Aaron Daly? Aaron Daly, one of the few people that I've heard who got it right. Kind of right. What did you say, Aaron? You said that Fundora, I keep on wanting to say Fondu. You said that Fundora would stop Tim Tszyu, but he didn't do that. I think that's what you said. But he didn't do that. But he did beat him, outscored him handily, in my opinion. And the one judge that gave it, 15-12, 16-12, some kind of madness like that? No, I'm sorry. That was not an accurate reflection of what I saw happening in the ring in Las Vegas that night. That is not a reflection of what I saw. That is not a reflection of what I saw. So then the question arose. Well, I volunteered my opinion. And my opinion was, well, should they fight again? Should they have an immediate rematch? Should Fundora go and have an immediate rematch with Tim Tszyu? And my philosophy was no. You already know that, you already know that I don't like immediate rematches. I just don't. I like to see a fight in between, at least one fight in between, going back for a rematch, ordinarily. Sometimes that's not possible. Like Joshua v. Usyk, you have to go straight back in, but to me, I don't know. You haven't had enough time to develop, generally speaking. You haven't had enough time to refine, generally speaking. Okay, it can work sometimes. Joshua v. Ruiz, that worked. Immediate rematch, that worked. Fury v. Klitschko. I think that if Klitschko had a rematch, Klitschko would have won. If Fury had given Klitschko the rematch, I think Klitschko would have won. You can see in the last 2 rounds of their fight, Klitschko was figuring out the puzzle. You can see that. But generally speaking, no. Take a fight in between, build a suspense, go and learn something different, build a suspense. That's my philosophy. Go learn something different, build a suspense, come back with at least some modifications, for goodness sakes. So, was I looking forward? Aaron Daly says, nah, I didn't say stoppage. I just said he'd batter him. Well, he didn't batter him, did he? Fundora didn't batter him, but he did beat him. He did outpoint him. I think Tszyu wins the rematch, however. Why do you think that? Because you underestimated him? Because you see now that you underestimated him? Is that what it is? Is that what it is? You see now that you underestimated Tszyu? Is that what you're saying to me? Because if you're saying that Tszyu is going to win the rematch, you thought Fundora was going to win the first one. If you thought Fundora was going to win the first one, then I imagine you'd have thought Fundora would have win the second one. But after seeing what you saw, I guess it's a little bit different to what you expected to see. You expected to see Fundora batter Tszyu. But it didn't really work out that way. It outpointed him, yes, granted. Or he didn't batter him. And now, Fundora's trainer or his manager is saying that they didn't have a written contract, but they have a verbal contract. The verbal contract was made that Fundora or Tszyu Fundora they would have an immediate rematch if Tszyu lost. I guess that would have been the terms. He didn't specify the terms. He said it on the Boxing Voice a couple of days ago. Was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday. It was all good. It was all good. Said it on the Boxing Voice yesterday. Yeah, we had a verbal contract and we're going to honor it. Yeah, Tszyu deserves it. Now, what do I think of that? I think there's something going on in the Saints. I don't think they really had that much of a choice in the matter. I think it was once Heyman saw what was crack-a-lacking, he just said, yo, there's going to have to be a rematch, yeah? There's going to be a rematch, yeah? There's going to have to be a rematch, yeah? I think Al just told him there's going to have to be a rematch. It's really simple. And whatever pull or whatever hold he's got, he's their promoter after all, I guess. Somewhat manager, promoter, or arranger, whatever you want to call it, composer. Whatever you want to call it. Whatever you want to call it. But I think there's some pressure. Or else, why would you not go? Why, if there weren't pressure for Fundora to fight Tszyu, if there were not pressure and extreme pressure to do so, why would you do it? He wouldn't do it. You'd go and take a bigger money fight. If there's a bigger money fight out there, you'd go and take that fight. And you're still the guy, even if you lose that fight, you're still the guy who beat Tszyu. So when Tszyu goes and gets his belt back, if he gets them back, then you still say, hey, you need to clear this up. You need to come and fight me again. And Tszyu might be inclined to do that. And Tszyu would probably be pressured by the public to do that, the boxing public to do that. And Tszyu would most probably do that because he was not expected to lose to Fundora. So I think there's some pressure being applied. Hold on a second. Let me do this poll. Who would you like Fundora to fight next? Who would you like Fundora to fight next? Question mark. Okay, let's come out with the questions. One. Okay, let's do it like this. You think I'm typing slow because the letters have rubbed off half of these keys. Well, not half, but a significant number. So I'm kind of typing blind. Fine. W, where's the W? That wasn't it. That wasn't it. Where's the W? Damn it. Where is the W? I'll find the W. Oh, there it is. Fundora. F-U. Fundora. Okay, so that's one. That's two. Let's add the third one. Means Wolford means okay. Who would you like Fundora to fight next? Start the poll. Okay, so the poll is now up. What are people saying? All Tszyu needs to is a full training camp. You can't go from fighting a 5'7" Thurman to fighting Orthodox Thurman. Is Thurman Orthodox? To fighting a 6'6" Southpaw on 12 days notice. For real. Jay, Bus, America up in the building. Fundora got forced into a rematch the same way Lyndon Arthur did against, Anthony Yard. Yeah, because it makes no logical sense. You become champion, you're going to want to go for the big money fight. So all this crapola about it is honor. We do it out of honor. My word is as good as my bond. My word is as good as a contract. That's all crapola, man. That's all crapola. Because you win a championship, your obligation there is to go out and make them big money fights. Get the big money fights. It ain't nothing about, he's been such a gentleman. It's about honor. No, it isn't, mate. You're tied up. You're tied up. You're being forced. You're being forced. It's not, we don't make business sense. What makes business sense is to fight the biggest fight you can get while you can get them. And this is opportunity knocks for Fundora, but he can't accept it because he's tied up. He's bound. He's bound. He's bound up. That's the reality, folks. That's the reality, y'all. That's the reality. Okay, get the votes in. Get the votes in. Okay. Right. Yeah, I think that's it. That's the word. That's the word. Get the votes in. Okay, so where are we going now? We're going over to. Where is it? Okay, you can see their eyes. You can see it in the eyes. It is Wardley versus, what is it? Clark. Wardley versus Clark. What's this here? Crawford should fight Fundora next. You mean Fundora should fight Crawford? Crawford, Fundora, Crawford. Yeah, I'm cool with that. Because let's say Fundora loses. It's not guaranteed he loses, but let's say Fundora loses. Tszyu's still going to want his get back. Tszyu's always going to want his get back. So to forego willingly of his own volition to forego fights with the likes of Crawford, big money fights with the likes of Spence, makes no logical sense unless they're under pressure. They're being pressured. They're under pressure. That's what I'm saying. OMG. OMG. Okay. Something I forgot to do. Okay. Let's correct that right about now. Right now. Right now. Where's that? Where's that button? Oh, no. Didn't think so. Okay. Let's correct that. Let's correct this. Done that. Done this. Okay. Okay. What's the poll saying? What's the poll saying? Let's have a little looky. Oh, let's respond to that. Hell of a card. Hell of a card. Hell of a fight. Hell of a card. Hell of a fight. Yes. 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 Okay. What are we doing? What we're doing 5 minutes ago. Okay. We're going to leave that open anyway. So that leads us to, hold on, let's correct. Let's get that up there. Let's get that up there. Hold on. Can make it even better. Something I can do. Yeah. I can do that. Okay. So Wardley, Fabio Wardley, the British heavyweight belt holder versus Fraser Clark. Okay. My prediction was that Fabio Wardley would potentially knock out, well, TKO actually, TKO Fraser Clark in the latter rounds of the fight. So we're looking about 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, something like that. Around the 9 mark. Running with the 9s. Rolling with the 9s. Didn't work out that way. How it did work out was that it was a hell of a lot more competitive than I expected it to be. I did expect it to be competitive, but I thought that Wardley would see it out, would come good. But what happened was that Fraser Clark came out storming. Fraser Clark came out like storming Norman. Came out fast. Came out with spite. Came out with accuracy. And I was surprised. But then I said, well, how long can he keep this up? As it transpired, it was not too much longer. Not too much longer at all, because then Wardley stepped up a gear and Clark had blown his explosiveness. Didn't have that explosiveness no more, but he did have technique, and that allowed him to be somewhat economical, even though he hadn't originally been economical. That his style allowed him to come back with an economy of style, an economy of movement. Whereas Fabio Wardley had to fight for his supper. He had to scrap over. He had to fight. He had to scrap. He had to swing. And his efforts took more effort. Wardley's efforts took more effort because he's not as crafted. He's not the more skillful boxer. He's not as crafted as Wardley is not as crafted. Hasn't got the Olympic pedigree. The Fraser, Big Phase has. Fraser Clark. You don't have that ease of technique that Fraser Clark has. And even though you could say Wardley's got a bigger gas tank, he got a bad cut on the nose. Whether the nose was broken or not, it was certainly impeding. The cut was certainly impeding operations. It was pouring. Looked like it was a victim of a machete attack on his nose. And one can only presume that did affect his breathing. One can only assume that. And so the gas tank difference, that wasn't there no more. That was nullified by the damaged nose. It was nullified. So now they're working with similar gas tanks. But Fraser's got more technique. And Wardley maybe a bit more heart. So what happened? It was one hell of an almighty war. It was an almighty war. Enthralling, one of the best all British clashes, a heavyweight that we've seen in a mighty long time. Mighty long time. And yeah, absolutely enthralling. Brilliant. There's an argument to say he should have stopped big, so he should have just pulled out Wardley, save him for another day, but he wasn't having it. He kept coming back when he thought he was out. He's going to get knocked out just because he's just the breathing being impaired. Gas tank, lungs must have been burning. Wardley said after the show, that's the type of fight that takes 2 years off your life. And I was thinking that during the fight, that's the kind of fight that takes years off your life. You don't want too many of them. Best of all, if you can avoid it altogether. If you can avoid those crazy wars altogether, you would be far better off. But sometimes you just can't avoid the war. Sometimes you can't avoid the war. You just got to go through with it. You just got to gut it out. And that's what Wardley did. And even Big Faze had to say, damn, man, you're a warrior. You're a warrior. And they were both warriors in there on Sunday night. Both could have quit. Both opted not to. And gave us one hell of a fight. One hell of a fight. Who would you like Fundora to fight next? 66% of respondents said Spence. 33% of respondents said Crawford. 0 to Tszyu. OMG is what I'm saying. Immediate rematches aren't always the best. Let that thing simmer. Let it simmer. Go fight somebody else. See what happens. Tszyu will always come back for you. He will always be there for you to come back to. So this ain't no noble move, in my opinion, by Team Fundora. It's a move they quite simply had to accept. Whew. Okay, we've done 1.5 hours. We've done it. We got through it. And the night ain't over yet for the Raphie. So thank you for everyone who came in. Raphie had some things he had to get off his chest, and I just did just that. Thanks for being here. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the share button. It's Raphie Dawkins. It's really late right here in Middle Earth, approaching 11:30 p.m. So we'll talk about it some more. Look out for the videos. It's Raphie Dawkins, the Combat Radio. Like, subscribe, comment, share. We are out for now. Blessed.